sorry about that, people. It cut off, like a memory. She was intoxicated when I was saying it was about them finding the weapons and the Asian being abusive to the Asian officer, didn't I? And about Simon asking to leave, people were tired of phoning like a cat, and she described putting on Facebook that she wanted. She described she would have carers who would come Simon's own way, and carers and stop coming, and the carers had stopped coming, and she described finding the lockdown period as particularly difficult as there was very little help that she got, and Simon would go out to work. She described early January 2023 as her life collapsing around her, and she had no carers and no support, and Simon had kicked her out. She described making the phone calls to the police, making threats, as she described it, to get attention. Well, yeah, basically you get the point. And if you really listen to the first part of this offences bit, it is very, very disturbing. It is very, very gruesome. It isn't very nice. Yeah, people aren't going to like it necessarily, but it's just for God's all honest truth. This is the reason that I get away with everything in court, because of this report, and why I get off very lightly with light sentences, and if I do go to prison, it's for short times. She stated that things were good until Christmas 2022 for about 2 to 3 years. She described by January 2023 feeling depressed and feeling low in mood. She stated that things were making her angry. She described these as being her relationship with Simon deteriorating, and her becoming increasingly isolated at home. She described in the last straw being Simon asking her to leave the house. She openly stated that she would do anything to be noticed. She openly stated, I need attention, and half the time I'm confused as to the reason behind why I do these things. She went on to state, 1 minute I'm happy as can be, and another minute I'm angry and sad. She openly acknowledged that she had committed the offences as charged. She described in the weeks prior to her offending that she was placed in a house of multiple occupancy. She described this as being a nightmare from hell. She stated that there was no hot water, no heating, and it was freezing cold in January. She described on multiple occasions trying to take my own life. She described taking overdoses, described that she just wanted out of her misery. She described that she thought that if she goes to prison, it would solve things. And that was a very true statement I made. To me, prison solves things. She openly stated, I said I'd stab people, and I'd go into Birmingham city centre and stab people. She stated that she had some kitchen knives and a peeler which she had got from her home. She openly acknowledged that whilst detained in the police station, she exposed herself and would shout boobies, boobies inappropriately, exposing herself. And then in custody, it was just on about how I was in segregation at the time. Segregation at HMP Foston Hall. She stated that she felt helpless in prison and was not getting any support. She described on one occasion whilst in prison over the last few weeks, she was told that she would have lawnmower training, but it didn't happen, basically. Has made her angry, and she asked about what kind of things made her sad, and yeah, and that's just going on about all the different things, really, and just, yeah, about how my behaviour in prison has also been very disturbing, because I was trying to rip radiators off walls and trying to keep prisoners up all night and shouting abuse to other prisoners and being really disgusting in prison. Even like getting my own excrement in my hands and rubbing it all over my walls, basically pooing and weeing on the floors, and basically being a very disgusting person and making serious false allegations, as it says, about prison officers, saying they were doing things to me they shouldn't be. which resulted in me having to go to new HMP Newhall because I kept on doing it about different officers, and they didn't want me in their prison ever. Again, because of that, really, they were very, very limited with it. They said enough's enough, and the threats to kill incident was when I had wrote, whilst I was already in prison for another reason, I'd actually started writing abusive things all over my cell walls, saying I was going to get people I knew to wait outside and basically kill prison officers and all that kind of thing, and writing letters with extreme death threats in those to people as well. Yeah, that's basically what happened. Yeah. It is disgusting, it is vile, it is bad. But without this psychiatric report, I would not have got away with half of what I've done in my time. Because as he's clearly stated to any judge that reads that, and a judge has to read that every time that I'm in court, it says that if they send me to prison for a long period of time, all it's going to do is reinforce the behaviour and make it worse. So that puts judges off sending me to jail. So you get how I've actually managed to get away with things as lightly as I have, why nobody can ever get justice, and that's the reason why. Nobody ever is going to get justice for anything bad I ever do, because that is the reason. All he had to say there was, the words that she finds prison as a reward and refuge, and that the judge ain't going to send me to prison if it's going to be a refuge and something I actually enjoy. It's supposed to be a punishment. So they probably think it's more punishment keeping me in the community with a very strict limiting community order than it is actually, sending me to prison. Is what they obviously think, and that's the way it is, and people can't change that at all. And this up here, people, is my certificate for successfully completing my order without actually doing any major breaches or reoffences. Let me see if I can get up close to it for you. Here, it's all framed. The actual people, the actual judge and the people involved with the order are the ones that put the frame on. I didn't actually buy a frame for it. It was the my probation worker and stuff at the time that put the frame on. Probation work. I think it was the probation worker or the judge or someone, but it came already framed. Woman's Intensive Supervision Court. But she did say if I would have actually been done for the original sexual offences, I wouldn't have been even allowed on that order, because you have to. Obviously, sexual offences against children doesn't means that you're not eligible to go on this order. They'll never put a sex offender against kids on these orders. It's completely, basically, it's against the rules and guidelines to put a sex offender of any type on that order. It's only for more minor crimes like malicious cons and whatever. This is to certify that Rebecca Cooper has completed the Woman's ISC. Date 5th of October 2025. I completed that. With best wishes for the future, the ISC team and the whole ISC team. Congratulations. We think you should be very proud of your achievements in successfully completing your supervision or under the Woman's ISC. And it's pride of place. It's on the wall. It's up there. It's all good. But yeah, okay, people, I'm going to go now. Please do take the time to watch this full video. I read it word for word, the report. I didn't bullshit or cover anything up, or I just skipped the boring family background bit, because that's not really the bit people want to hear. They want to hear what nasty, vile things I've done in my life and But okay, people, I'm going to go now. Thank you. Bye.